Hello to all of you. As Ellie mentioned before, my name is Hannah Durbin and I'm a senior here at Elon this year. And that makes me a 21-year-old about to venture out into the real world in a matter of just 4 short months. And most seniors, I think you would agree that that's terrifying and even daunting, but to me it couldn't be any more exciting. I've battled a horrific illness known as anorexia for a portion of 5 to 6 years of my life. And in my newfound recovery, my life is just beginning. Standing up here today is a completely surreal experience because just 3 years ago, my life could not have been any different. As I mentioned, I suffered from a horrific battle with anorexia, and still to this day, just saying that word brings chills down my spine. My battle was long and grueling, and it's something that I would not wish upon my worst enemy. I'm not going to stand up here and lecture you about all of the horrific details of anorexia because I'm sure you've heard, most of you have heard about them from Ellie, but I'm going to stand up here and tell you today that 1, it looks different on everybody, and 2, my experience is unique because it's my own experience, and that's what I'm going to talk about with you today. So instead of sharing my story through the gruesome details and the horrific pictures, I'm rather going to talk to you about it through a different experience and a different perspective, and that's through the eyes of somebody who is now so deeply grateful for her struggles. But before I can talk about the victory of winning the battle with my eating disorder, I have to talk about the war with it first. And my battle with anorexia handicapped me for years. It single-handedly stole the life right out of me. I battled this horrific illness for, like I said, 5 to 6 years, and it not only sucked the life out of me, but it sucked away the passion and the freedom and the love that I had for everything on this earth. I was one of the happiest people I knew before I was struck down with this illness, and I lost sight of myself in the midst of this, and I lost sight of what life could be because I didn't know what it was anymore. My eyes were completely lifeless. My mom would tell me this nearly every day, that she didn't see me anymore. She didn't recognize her daughter. She didn't recognize the girl who would slump down the stairs in the morning with a battered-in chest and sunken eyes, and somebody who she just didn't know anymore. And my heart was hollow. My heart was broken. I was so sad that I couldn't express it in words. And my mind was so consumed by the thoughts of self-destruction that I couldn't even hold a conversation because I was so consumed by the thoughts that were racing through my head. And those thoughts didn't end when I went to sleep. They didn't end when I woke up the next morning. They continued on and on every second of every day for over 5 years. And if anybody knows what it feels like to be trapped inside of your own mind, it's absolutely terrifying. And I couldn't escape it no matter how hard I tried. And to be stuck inside your own mind and to battle yourself is something that you can't really express, but I'm here standing in front of you telling you that it's nearly impossible to do alone. And I want to encourage everybody who has struggled or will struggle or knows somebody struggling that you don't need to do it alone. And that's one of the main takeaways that I want to leave with you today and start my conversation with, is that you're not alone, you never will be, and there's so many people out there who are going to help you. But the trick with this eating disorder is that it took and it took and it took for me never giving anything in return. And it told me that if I listened to its demonic voice, that it would take away all of the sadness that I was experiencing in my life due to the death of a loved one. And that was sadness that I didn't know how to express or interpret in my own life, but it was something that I didn't know how to handle, so I decided to take it out in food restriction and over-exercise. And I became addicted to it, and it became all I could think about. And this disorder, like I said, took everything from me. It stole my passion, it stole my freedom, and it almost sealed the deal by stealing my life altogether. And I couldn't understand that the voice in my head wasn't trying to save me, but it was rather trying to kill me. And that's something that still to this day makes me shed a tear because I didn't understand that at the age of 19, I had almost been taken off of this planet, but in a way that wasn't easy or painless, but was long and grueling. And at 19, I was ready to sacrifice my life to a demon that wasn't going to give me anything in return. But the day that I decided to start standing up for myself, and the day that I decided this demon had had enough from me, had taken and taken and taken, but had not given me anything in return, I got pissed off. And people say that recovery is really tough, and they say that it's different for everybody, but for me, it looked like anger. Because this disorder had stolen 5 years of my life, and that includes 5 years of birthdays, and holidays, and vacations, and time with friends and family that I would never get back. And that included 5 years of Thanksgiving that I spent every hour of that evening crying in the bathroom. It meant that I didn't have a single bite of my own birthday cake in over 5 years. It meant that every vacation that my family went on, I would meal prep for because I was terrified of unfamiliar food. And I didn't live a single day of my life since that disorder had crept into my brain, and by the time I was a freshman in college, I was done. It had nearly taken my life from me, and now I was about to fight for it back. And I fought hard as hell because, like I said, I was done. I put my foot down and it was my time to get my life back in control and in my own hands. But unfortunately, recovery doesn't happen overnight. I spent the second semester of my freshman year in college in a hospital bed in an inpatient facility in Princeton, New Jersey. I then stepped down to a partial hospitalization program for the entirety of that following summer, which I spent the entire day at the hospital and then was able to come home and sleep in my own bed, which at that point was really exciting. I then continued to step down from there, and I would do outpatient treatment when I was lucky enough to come back to school my sophomore year. And I would drive to Greensboro every day, and then that continued to progress until it was only a couple days a week, and then I stepped down to no treatment at all. And that's where I am now, but like I said, getting to recovery isn't easy. It takes a lot of time. But anything worth fighting for is going to take some time, and that's what I told myself every day that I continue to fight. And this is a recent revelation, but as I used to say, I would thank the treatment facilities and the medical teams for getting me where I was. I thank the doctors for saving my life. I thanked the therapists for facilitating the thoughts that got me to recovery. But I've recently realized that they don't deserve all the credit. Because ultimately, they were my army. They stood behind me through everything. They encouraged me to continue pushing. But I was the commander-in-chief of that army, and it was my battle to be won, and I was the one who won it. So it's about time I give myself some credit for that. My battle was long and hard, but I fought wholeheartedly because I truly believed that on the other side of that disorder, there was a life better than my wildest dreams. And I didn't know what it exactly looked like, and I was terrified to let go of the illness that I had held onto for so long, because it was my security blanket, it was everything I knew, and it was the only way that I knew how to get through my days. But I truly believed in my heart of hearts that there was something better on the other side. And I'm standing here today on this stage telling you that it was 100% right, and that there is something on the other side of this illness that you would never expect. And it's finding your freedom again, and your happiness, and your love, and your spontaneity, and there's so many beautiful things about recovery that I could talk about for hours. But please believe me when I say that I was 100% right in that thought, and although it was terrifying, it was worth it. But recovery is not just about rediscovering yourself and gaining physical strength and mental clarity. It's so much more than that. It's about finding your balance again. And balance was something that I lost sight of for years. Because, as mentioned, diet culture is pushed down our throats. It's normal. It's seen as the only way that we can live in order to keep our figures and our shapes. And for some reason, that's been so emphasized, when in actuality, the appearance of our outer shell is irrelevant. It's what we have inside. And that sounds as cliche as ever because I've read it in a million different quotes, but it's so true. It doesn't matter what you look like. It's the way you make people feel. It's the way you smile at someone and make their day. The way you offer to help them and love them and care for them. And I was incapable of doing that for so long because I couldn't even take care of myself. So yeah, recovery is very scary. And I'll be the first one to tell you that it was the most terrifying thing I've ever done. But it made me who I am. And it gave me a heart bigger than anything else. And it gave me a smile brighter than anything else. And I don't think I ever would have stumbled upon that without the struggle. But in terms of balance, it looks different for everyone. And my type of balance comes out in all different forms. Balance for me looks like a long run in the morning and then coming home and treating myself to a stack of pancakes. And it means going on a spontaneous weekend trip with my best friend. And it means coming home to a pint of my favorite ice cream. It means training for marathons. And it means treating my body after that with rest and self-care. It means being a personal trainer. It means being a best friend, a girlfriend, a roomie, a daughter, a blogger, an Instagrammer. It means so many different things to me because that's what my life looks like now as I'm living in a balanced way. It means dedicating my time to the things that I love the most while still dedicating my time to things that make me my healthiest and my happiest. Recovery is more than it looks like on the surface. It means falling back in love with adventure and spontaneity. It means that you're releasing fear and accepting passion, and it's better than your wildest dreams. For me, recovery didn't happen overnight. Like I said, it took years and years and years, but it brought me to this stage today. Recovery opened my eyes to a whole new world. It opened my heart to a whole new world. And it opened my eyes to an experience that I never thought I would see. And that's the opportunity to touch people's hearts with my story. And that's the opportunity to encourage people that no matter what they're going through, whether it's an eating disorder or depression or anxiety, that there's hope on the other side. And that's something I can comprehend in the midst of my battle, but it's now something that I look into the eyes of somebody suffering and I just want to shake them and tell them that they're going to be okay. But you have to believe that for yourself, and you have to find it for yourself, and that takes time, but it's possible. and there's resources, and there's people who are going to support you and be there every step of the way. And I will be that person to encourage you and be there for you because I'm living proof that recovery is possible. And I wouldn't be on the stage in front of all of you today without that battle, and I wouldn't be here touching the hearts of other people without my struggles. And I'm here today in front of you telling you that I'm absolutely grateful for every struggle that I went through. I wouldn't trade my story for anything. And I'm very happy that I got dealt the hand of cards that I did, because it brought me here, it brought me in front of you. And for that, I'm forever grateful. Thank you.